Hi, I'm Amy Berry, CEO of the Tahoe Fund. On behalf of all of our partners with the Fire Smart Community Pilot, we're so honored to be here today to tell you about this pilot project. The Tahoe Fund is a nonprofit in, you guessed it, Lake Tahoe, and we leverage philanthropic dollars to help support environmental projects all across the lake. And while we do a number of different types of projects, in 2019, our board decided that our most important imperative had to be reducing the threat of catastrophic wildfire. We started something we like to call the Smartest Forest Fund because we knew that we had a unique opportunity to use innovative private capital to really infuse innovation and technology into this space. The Smartest Forest Fund is basically a philanthropic venture capital fund. We have funded things like Vibrant Planet's initial stages of doing the CWPP in Lake Tahoe, bringing fire-aside defensible space software to the entire Lake Tahoe region, and a 22-acre pilot demonstration of BurnBot's remote masticating robots. We've done some other things as well. We funded scholarships to every forestry program at the new community college forestry program. We've also, or scholarships to the program. We've helped stand up a new sawmill, a new biomass facility, and we've written op-eds telling the world, hey, if we want to save our forests, we need to cut down some trees. And then we had coffee at Clyde's Coffee in South Lake Tahoe with Chris Anthony. And he said, I love everything you're doing. And this was pretty recently after the Caldor fire came raging into the basin. And he whispered kind of slowly, lowly over his coffee, and he said, I'm worried the neighborhoods are going to burn down. So we thought, can we take all of this really cool new technology that now exists for the first time, and can we use it to make our local communities safer? Could we develop a pilot to use this technology to help us define the mitigations that would matter the most to create the most fire-safe community in Lake Tahoe? And could we do it with insurance by our side every step of the way to use this learning to help better inform insurance outcomes? And lastly, could we build this pilot in a way where it was a model that could work not just in one community in Tahoe, it could work across Tahoe and really all across the western US? We decided to start in Incline Village with the North Lake Tahoe Fire Protection District, mostly because they've been doing community wildfire protection for decades very successfully, and because they happen to have an MOU with one of our favorite innovators, BurnBot, and we knew we wanted BurnBot's remote masticators to be part of this pilot. So we got the gang together, we worked with Vibrant Planet and Xylaplan to model the community to tell us what are the neighborhoods that are the highest priority. So we could literally pick up the phone and start dialing around and asking, hey, do you want to be part of our pilot? We landed on Tyrolean Village, mostly because the fire district and the models converged to say this is one of the highest priority neighborhoods in Lake Tahoe. But also Gregor Fani, the HOA president, happened to have Googled, literally, how do you get funding to remove dead trees from your community? And he was very successful in getting funding to do just that. And thus, the Incline Fire Smart Community Pilot was born. We got everybody together and we built a roadmap for what it would look like to make a most resilient community. We looked at what the public lands work outside the neighborhood had been done. We worked with NV Energy to look at the impacts of their utility corridor management they've done outside the neighborhood. And then we brought in hand thinning crews and BurnBot to do mastication work all the way up to 5 feet of every home in a 61-acre community with 228 homes. Then we brought in defensible space inspectors. We used Fire-Aside to do 228 defensible space inspections. And lastly, we partnered with Dr. Mahmood at Vanderbilt to use his conflagration modeling to really help understand what were the mitigations that mattered the most. And for the first time ever, all of these new technologies that really weren't available even a few years ago, we're all now working together to truly understand what's the vulnerability score for the community and what can we do that's going to have the biggest impact, the biggest bang for the buck in that community. And now we know, thanks to all of this modeling, exactly which homes in the community are the most vulnerable to wildfire, and importantly, which homes are the super spreaders that might burn their neighbors' homes down. We brought in our friends at NV Energy through their foundation to start a home hardening fund where we could provide financial incentives to those homes that are going to have the biggest impact in their neighbors' outcomes if wildfire comes through. And lastly, we brought in a social scientist, Natalie Bennett from the University of Colorado at Boulder to help us understand how are people thinking about this work that's going on in their communities. And we're just in the early stages of this, but you can already see, seeing work done in your community inspires others to do work on their own property, which is a great start. Now, we are just getting started. We like to say that we are flying this airplane while we're building it at the same time. We have probably 6 to 12 months to go before all the home hardening work will be complete, and we can really declare this the most fire-ready community in Tahoe. But already we're seeing great success. This one pilot has turned into 4 more in Lake Tahoe alone, and over the hill already in Grass Valley with our friends at PG&E, a pilot's underway. And as we said from the start, we didn't want to build this just to make Incline Village safer or just to make Lake Tahoe safer. We wanted to build a pilot that was replicable across the entire Western US. And so we're here today to give you the tools that you need to take this model back home to your community so you can do it. And I'd like to take a moment really quickly to ask anybody who worked on this pilot or with one of the organizations or companies to just stand really briefly. Yeah, they said bringing everybody up on stage might be too much. So these are the people that you can look to say, hey, how do I bring this to my community? And we hope you'll join us this afternoon for our unconference, Getting the 411 on the Fire Smart Community Pilot, where we'll be able to answer all your questions. And hot off the presses, we have a new playbook that we developed, which has a step-by-step guide on how you can do this in your community. So we hope you'll join us. We hope you'll find a way to bring a Fire Smart community to your own hometown, because we know together we can make communities safer by finding the mitigations that matter the most so everyone can feel safe in their own communities. Thank you.